What is clearly a myth but is deep-rooted in our society? That you need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. If you sincerely think someone is missing, then report it. The faster that a missing person report is filed, the better chance there is that the person will be found. This is especially crucial when it comes to missing children. This is an important one. It's also real weird how shows keep saying gotta wait 24 hours and the first 48 hours are the most important. The belief that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. Actually it does. And sometimes with great frequency. Doesn't the very existence of a lightning rod invalidate this saying? The belief that touching a fawn or a baby bird will make the mother abandon it. Complete and utter bullshit. If you find a bird out of the nest it most likely fledged. If not and it is visibly very small it is perfectly fine to pick it up and place it back in the nest. Same with fawns. Animal instincts are much stronger than to just abandon their young because of smell. It has to do more with the fact that fawns hide in tall grass from predators and the mother finds it easier by smell. I think this came about from parents just trying to stop kids from handling wild animals. The Middle Ages were less barbaric and dark than we think. As a medieval historian, I agree. The Victorians are who screwed us over on this one. That you can't get pregnant if X. Many things can lower fertility. But unless you literally do not have a uterus and or ovaries, there's always a chance, for better or worse. BTW. As some of these pregnancies can be dangerous. I've known infertile women who mothered kids because their husband was hyperfertile. Their hormonal levels shifted as they got older. Their birth control failed because of medication or surgery. etc. etc. Assume there's a risk, or a chance unless the equipment isn't there. When I was in high school sex ed we were talking about birth control and a guy asked is it true if you pour a can of Red Bull in a girl's pussy she won't get pregnant? The teacher was silent for a moment before saying first of all we use classroom appropriate terms here. Second that is both the best and the worst birth control method I've heard. It will do nothing to prevent a girl you have already had sex with from getting pregnant from the act. But it will probably make her reconsider ever doing that with you again. And girls talk to each other so her friends might steer away from you too. Leaning your head back for a bloody nose. I think we just tell people this so they stop bleeding on everything else and keep their blood in their own throat. The alpha-beta social hierarchy that we observed in wolves. The researcher who performed the experiment realized he had made many mistakes in his original take, and has spent the rest of his life trying to undo the damage that report has created. This is one of the worst, in my opinion, because it influences and encourages a type of dog training that is fear-based and that can hinder the relationship between the dog and the person training them who is often the owner. The makeup of a wolf pack is mostly familial, and the ones in charge are the mother and father, not some chosen alpha. Your dogs deserve respect. Message is harmful and East Asian cuisine is bad because of message. My wife used to think she had an allergy to message, because the only 2 Chinese restaurants in our hometown that didn't make her sick were the ones that claimed not to use it. It wasn't until she started noticing how many other things she eats that have message that she realized that it probably wasn't what was making her sick. Gum stays in your stomach for 7 years. The amount of myths, clever marketing and bro science in the health and nutrition world is honestly too much to even list here. You mean there isn't one secret food that will make me shred fat better than cardio? Anyone says you can trim fat in X area by doing Y exercises. Totally impossible. You'll lose fat proportionally over all areas of your body. You can't just target one area to work on. I'm speculating here. But could that have come from the fact that you build those specific muscles, causing more of a visual change? Or am I totally off base? Exercise is something I know very little about. That getting caught in rain causes a cold. Every rom-com anime disagrees with you. That OCD is liking things to be extremely neat, tidy or organized. This is in India. If you pass out faint, rub the person's feet to wake them up. TV serials taught the population this trick. Now people do this for all passing out, including drownings, heart attacks, and other serious ailments. Jesus Christ. I passed out once in my town at the farmer's market and some foreign woman started rubbing my feet. Now I know why. The alpha crap people still use in dog training. Even the guy who came up with it regrets it. It turns out if you're mean to your dog, it's probably going to be mean back. And if it's not, you've successfully traumatized it into being scared shitless of you. I feel bad for that guy. After he realized his mistake, he tried his absolute best to convince people that he was wrong and that alpha wolves aren't a thing. And nobody listened. That Marilyn Manson removed 2 ribs to be able to suck himself off. This one is funny to me because my belief is it became so well known due to the fact that no one was too surprised to hear about it and didn't question it. It's illegal to have your interior light go in the car, lol. That black ladybugs with red spots are poisonous. When I was young, I had to give a presentation about ladybugs when someone claimed the spots signify the age of the ladybug in years. I said it was not true. The whole class disagreed with me because, after all, it is common knowledge that a ladybug with 7 dots equals a 7-year-old ladybug, and of course a 24-dotted subcoccinella 24 punctata has to be 24 years old. I refused to give in until the teacher argued that, since everybody was arguing against me, I was clearly wrong and should let go already. 19 teens and an adult so convinced bugs could reach the ripe age of 24 years old. Nobody agreed with me and some of my classmates kept bullying me about it for the rest of the year. The daftness haunts me to this day. I'm Britain. Kids are told that if they eat carrots it will help them see in the dark. This originated from World War II. It's crazy how many people actually still believe it. Edit. I thought this was only a British myth fact told as kids, as I found out it came during World War II during the bombings. I didn't know it's worldwide spread. Cool to see though, and that there's actually some truth to it. The British wanted to hide how well their radar tech worked and they wanted the population to eat more local produce. So they spread the rumor that their pilots had excellent vision and could see German planes before they could see them because they ate a lot of carrots. There used to be a thing in Korea about fan death. https://en. Wikipedia. Org wiki fan death. A belief that a running fan would eventually deprive a room of oxygen and could kill the occupants if they left it running too long. Apparently the belief was prevalent enough that all fans sold there were usually equipped with a safety auto shut-off timer mechanism. Kind of like clothes steam irons. My Korean husband kept telling me that sleeping with the fan on is not good and it's bad for your health. I laughed so hard. I told him, if that was true then I and a lot of the people in the Philippines would be dead by now. The widespread belief that people are sabotaging Halloween candy with needles and razors. Despite there being, if I recall correctly, only one documented case in the US. Ever. Also, that people are lacing the kids' candy with drugs. Drugs are expensive. Nobody is going to waste their stash on random kids. That one documented case is a guy that tried to kill his own kids or stepkids or something too. Swimming within 30 minutes of eating isn't dangerous. It doesn't cause cramps. Waiting 30 minutes makes it much less likely for kids to vomit. That the marshmallow experiment demonstrated that kids who can delay gratification will be more successful later in life. On further review, it was discovered that what it actually demonstrated was that kids who are not economically disadvantaged will be more successful. But the most recent study found no meaningful correlation between the ability to delay gratification as a child and success later in life. https://Anderson-review. UCLA. EDU new study disavows marshmallow tests' predictive powers. I love how much of social science is basically oh whoops. We accidentally discovered that being poor is a major setback to kids' development and ability to grow into a well-rounded human being. Add it to the list. Cats don't get attached to their owners but to the house. Completely wrong. My poor cat. Her owner died 2 years ago. And I agreed to take her in. She was 14 years old at the time. And had lived in the same house with the same owner since she was a kitten. The first few weeks were heart-wrenching watching this cat trying to make sense of its new surroundings. She's always social anxiety. I was familiar with the cat owner before I took her in, but I'm sure she definitely lost a few lives during her transition period. Feliway. Soliquin. etc. didn't really help. She's okay now. Still a little socially anxious. And stays in one spot most of the time. But she will come to greet me on the couch when I get home. Watermelon seeds will still grow in my stomach. Thanks for ruining my childhood. Angelica Pickles. A cop has to tell you they are a cop if you ask. Not encouraging criminals here. But if you are up to some shady shit and think someone might be a cop, shut up and leave, go about your shady business later somewhere else. Badger. I'm looking at you. If you shave your hair, it will grow back faster, darker, and/or coarser. Faster, darker and/or coarser. God, I love Daft Punk. That a polygraph test can actually be used to detect if someone is lying. This is still used in law enforcement. It's insane. In the same vein, eyewitness reports are notoriously unreliable. An engagement ring has to have a diamond. And also, as a general rule, it should be worth 3 months of your salary. Both come from an incredibly successful marketing campaign by diamond mining trading company called De Beers. Red goes faster. Orc mentality. Next you're gonna tell me that purple isn't the sneakiest color. That the average person swallows 7 spiders a year in their sleep. Where TF did that even come from? IDK about you guys. But I've had a grand total of 0 spiders climb on me while I've been awake this year. I can't imagine there's any chance that I've had 7 crawl on me while I'm sleeping. Let alone crawl on me. And make their way directly into my mouth. Spiders Georg. Who lives in a cave and eats over 10,000 each day. Is an outlier and should not have been included in the dataset. Sitting too close to the TV will make you go blind. I'm pretty sure that came from 2 things. In the 1960s, Jem made a CRT color TV that put out a massive amounts of radiation. Like 100,000 times what the feds called a reasonable dose. And the sets were quickly recalled. But the myth persists today. The other half is that the other people wanted to watch it too. And your childhood face plastered to the screen sort of prevented that. Adding another lane will make traffic go away. Traffic happens because people follow too closely and have brake unnecessarily. My fiance's friend would tailgate like crazy. When she was asked why, she said to make room for more cars on the highway. Some people are just stupid. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Bro, that was a commercial. You've spent your entire life repeating a commercial from before you were born. My blood sugar levels demand tribute. Dominance and dog training. Edit. And as this post shows, the dominance theory is still permeating the culture and its advocates are pushing back despite the evidence to the contrary. Bigger is better in bed. A former friend of mine once told me of a guy she dated who was so big she said that no way that thing is going inside of me. She didn't say his name but only referred to him as horsecock. Suffering from success. That 13 is a scary number. Buildings don't even have a 13th floor because of this balloona. In Japan it's 4. Your family and relatives will always be there for you and blood never betrays etc. I've seen so many people stick up for scumbag relatives with the notion of because they're family. If you get a raise that puts you into a new tax bracket, you will actually owe more money. My mom used to think getting a raise would result in her making less. Then when I entered the workforce, I saw someone say something similar. I was shocked to learn that this was a common belief. While this is true about tax brackets, the really fucked up thing is that making more money can disqualify people, families and the US for benefits or subsidies that they rely on to get by. I have a friend that died last year because her husband got a raise that made it so they couldn't get subsidized healthcare anymore and couldn't afford to pay for the entire family. So she dropped herself from the plan. Then she got sick and couldn't afford to go to the doctor and it was too late to enroll. This is part of the reason why the middle class is shrinking in the US. It's too expensive to be in the middle class. I think it was the Brits who started a rumor that carrots help your eyes, like supersight. They did so because they had the first iteration of radar and needed an excuse why they kept shooting down German planes accurately. Now it's regurgitated everywhere. Body hair grows thicker after it's been shaved. Shaving a lot of times gives you a beard. The fact that in the US, an employer can have a policy that says you can't discuss your wages with coworkers. It is illegal for them to even have a written or oral policy stating you can't discuss wages with others. Does anybody remember that urban legend that claimed Tommy Hilfiger was on either Oprah or Rosie O'Donnell's show and said something along the lines of, if I knew my clothes were going to be worn by black people, I would never have made them? I was thinking about it the other day and was wondering how this alleged quote, which was pre-internet, managed to become widespread without mass communication and widely accepted as true. I hear Tommy Hilfiger had to create a press release saying he never was on any of those TV programs.